Welcome to our first show and the most entertaining show of your sports life. I'm your host, Yasser Sharif, and no, you do not call me the sheriff, because that's just dumb. Call me the sports doctor, because I know sports and you will need a doctor after listening to the great takes and certainly the most accurate assessment of the association. That's right, the National Basketball Association, referred from here on as professional basketball, b-ball, hoops, NBA, and when we really want to annoy some Jordan lovers, we call it LeBron's League. It's
Oh,
still
stop. I'm going to cut you off, man. Worst intro.
Relax.
We did not agree to that. Okay, go on.
Right, so they call him Ehab, but I call him the Shark, mainly because it's in his name. He's my co-host, and I'm lucky to know him. The man knows sports, but he kills association. He's also a doctor, the jurist type. But today, it's all about the NBA. It's about the NBA every day on this show. We will have predictions. We will be argumentative. We will be rude and crude. But hey, if you can't pick on guys smaller than you, where's the fun in it? The season will be upon us tomorrow, and we'll be looking at teams that we think can play. The preseason award favorites, the teams that will make playoffs, and those that will be crying from the outside looking in. We'll tell you who makes the conference finals, and then likely change all of it by the middle of the season. Just kidding. Let me get my buddy on the mic, because there is no show without both of us. You can blog us your feedback, but really, we don't care. You will love it. You will want more. You will not turn us off, because if you don't like basketball, we don't like you. Let's get ready to play. Here is the Shark.
All right, man. After all of that, I don't want to add anything and ruin it. So thanks for putting time and thought into an intro. A little about myself. Detroit, born and raised. Obviously, if you can see the shirt, I grew up in the 80s, and I basically got my master's, PhD in basketball, watching the bad boys battle the Celtics of Larry Bird, Showtime Lakers, take on Jordan and the Jordanaires. And I mean, what better time to come up loving basketball? I mean, even my immigrant parents who knew nothing about it got hooked instantly. It was like Pistons basketball and WWF until they realized it was fake. So I couldn't get enough, and I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. Hopefully we add something that's a little different and interesting and fun for all of our friends and future fans. With that, this is going to be one hell of a season. I mean, I can't wait. I feel like every year there's more and more juiciness, storylines in the offseason. I think it's common that most NBA fans will agree. The offseason is almost just as exciting, if not more, than the actual season, from all the player movement, rumors, trades, and the draft, and the new rookies coming in year to year. So you got your super teams on the East Coast, West Coast. Both of them have some big question marks right off the bat with Kyrie, and then the Lakers with their age. I mean, they've reassembled the 2000 or 1999 AAU All-Stars, it seems. But yeah, Melo and LeBron are finally back together. I know that's your team now. You say you're a Piston diehard, but man, you can't stop talking about LeBron and the Lakers. You think it's a shoo-in, right? 100% they're going to win it all?
I think they are the best assembled team that LeBron has ever been on. And since he likes to live in the playoffs, live in the finals, it seems, I think it's a pretty good bet they're going to be there
Best
in the near future.
Assembled team that LeBron's, I'm writing this down, that LeBron's ever been on. So better than the Heatles, which all the LeBron legacy protectors like to downplay. Everyone will have you believe Dwayne Wade was like a day away from retirement when that team came together, and that Chris Bosh was a glorified Kelly Olynyk. I mean, and just LeBron's greatness was the only thing that led them to 2 championships, right? Anyway, I digress. So it is on paper incredible. Like, I think I saw that there's no team with that amount of accolades on one roster, obviously, because of how old they are. They've racked up All-Star appearances. They have a record like for most All-Star appearances, MVPs, and all that. The question is, how much do they have left in the tank? I think we know the injury issues with AD are obvious. But aside from that, LeBron, for the first time in his career last year, showed signs of aging in the playoffs, right? I mean, he was injured the year before AD got there. They didn't make the playoffs. I mean, that doesn't really count. But last year, he missed time during the season, came into the season maybe not 100%, right? I mean, he didn't look himself. But how much of that was recovering and getting back into the flow of things versus age? I don't think we know for sure. So I think that'll be an interesting thing to watch early on is, are they going to load manage him? How much is he going to go, typical LeBron all out? Is athleticism where it needs to be to still dominate?
We definitely want to talk about the contenders in the East and the contenders in the West and some preseason awards.
Okay.
Should we start with the East?
Let's do it. Yep. East is year to year been getting stronger, I think. This year, obviously the champion came out of the East. Milwaukee Bucks, give them their respect. We've heard a lot of haters throw the label of, they just won it because of injury, but I don't like to do that. I think that's unfair. You play who's against, you play who you play, right? The Suns, I'll say they got pretty damn lucky in several rounds. But hey, they got there, they took the lead, and the Bucks showed me something. They showed some mental fortitude, some toughness. Giannis, kind of like a referendum on his career and his greatness, was in that finals. If he could step up and carry that team. And Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday stepped up as well. They played great. But Giannis had the defining moments, right? In those last couple of wins, the blocks, the alley-oop, the defense, going 19 to 20 from the free throw line when he's like a 60% free throw shooter. All everyone was talking about was how long he takes to shoot his free throws and the countdowns. I mean, that was hilarious. Every opposing arena, people would start counting down. I mean, you gotta be mentally tough to shoot through that. So Giannis definitely elevated his stock, stamped his place in NBA history. But people are going to see him do it again, prove it's not a fluke. I think the East, obviously, the narratives start with the Nets, but the Bucks as defending champs, I think are going to come back with some confidence. They now have removed that monkey off their back from the years previous, with the playoff failures and choke job really against Miami in the bubble. And all the early exits. So I think they're going to play with a little bit more of an edge to prove that this was not a. I mean, do you agree? Do you put the Bucks as the favorite, or do you think they're second behind?
I think they'll be number 2 in my book, mainly because I think KD and Harden will be healthier this year, and that's a pretty tough 1-2 punch to overcome. I think Harden was definitely hurt last year in the playoffs. He tried to do his best, and it was not that good. But I would follow that by, here's a little surprise. I don't know if I told you earlier, but I think the number 3rd seed in the East is going to be the Chicago Bulls. They have upgraded a lot.
That is a surprise. Okay, so you're going on record as you think they'll be top 4? Or are you saying they'll be the 3rd seed?
No, they'll be top 4. That's what I'm saying for sure.
They did a lot. They were aggressive. They obviously, so they added Lonzo Ball to run point. That's a big upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who ran point guard last year. Who was it? They had a bunch of different guys from Satoransky, Kobe White to Levine.
And DeMar DeRozan.
Yep.
The guy who knows how to play. He only comes to.
And they made that big aggressive move to get Vucevic, who's an all-star, a legit 2010 guy. He can shoot. He can post. The big question with the Bulls is going to be defense. DeRozan is getting up there in age. Lonzo can play D. He's known to be a good defender. Zach LaVine isn't. Zach LaVine just cares about scoring. He'll get you buckets. I mean, he's athletic enough. He should be a good defender. Maybe if the team is more competitive and those guys with some vets like DeRozan can hold them accountable. But I think that's a bit high. I mean, I think that's a terrible, terrible pick. The Bulls at 3 or 4. I think from where they weren't even a playing team. It was like I think they have the talent on paper to maybe be like eventually a 4 or 5 seed, but not this year. It's going to take some time to gel. I mean, they have a new coach. They have a lot of new players to integrate. I will say that, and the East is tougher from top to bottom. You've got, the champs, you got the Nets, you got the Hawks. So number 3 for me, 3 or 4, I'll put together the Hawks. And, I thought about this a bit. I think if healthy, if Jaylen Brown is 100% back, I think the Celtics will compete there in that 3-4 spot with the Hawks.
We actually have another team that we differ on. In my top 4, I'm going to pick the Heat.
Oh, that's solid. Actually, yeah. You go ahead. Talk about the Heat. Why do you think they'll be?
Well, I think they're just a better team this year. They added Kevin Lowry, and all the experience that he brings, and the guy can still play. The young guys that already exist on the team are only going to get better. Preseason doesn't mean a lot, but Tyler Hero was definitely looking very good. So I expect him to be more of a contributor.
He's an X factor. Yeah, if they get bubble time Hero, okay, I'll have to say that. I think they're probably the favorite to be number 3.
Duncan Hunter and Bam Adebayo are just fantastic players in their positions. So you've got shooting, you've got playmaking, you've got leadership with
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler. So I don't know. They're not missing.
You know what? I'm going to change from Boston. I agree. I think the Bucks and Nets are 1-2. They're a clear tier, and then there's a drop off to the Heat and the Hawks, and the Celtics. I still think right there, just because I think last year Jaylen Brown kind of really took a next step, and maybe Tatum had to adjust to that a little bit. Their big weaknesses in the middle. I'm not sure how much they did to address it, other than hope that Robert Williams is healthy. And now that they got rid of like Tristan Thompson, all these other vets that are no good, if Robert Williams can be healthy, I think he's going to be a contender for Defensive Player of the Year.
Why are both you and I not that hot on the Sixers?
The Sixers are a mess. Look, in the regular season, yeah, I think were they the 1 seed or 2? No, they were the 2 seed. They're a great regular season team with Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons, he's a solid regular season player, great defender. The pressure's not on, the big lights. Look, say what you want about him. The guy's done in Philly. I don't see how they can bring him back. I mean, he's back because he wants to get paid, but dude, that's going to be toxic. That's going to be such a bad energy in the locker room after everything that's been thrown back and forth in the media and the public eye. Like Embiid and Simmons, it's obvious they don't get along. Doc Rivers, I mean, that guy's a clown. I mean, he's so far removed from the Celtics time when he was a championship coach. He's just made a mess of things with the Clippers and with the Sixers, even worse now. Like, yeah, on paper they've got a ton of talent. Tyrese Maxey, he'll get more minutes. I think he's a solid rookie last year. Mm-hmm. They'll be good, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. They'll probably be like right there for 5th or 6th seed. But I don't think they have a chance to advance in the playoffs beyond the second round. They're just –
I agree. I think the chemistry is so –
it's so important. Yeah.
Thanks to Simmons. Mess it up. Like you can literally blame him for like 80% of messing up a decent team, and that's gonna suck for them.
He doesn't want it. He doesn't have the intangibles.
Let's talk about the East. There's some great up and coming teams in the East.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we should both name 1 or 2 surprise, possibly coming in, sneaking into the playoffs or the play-in.
I think they made the play-in last year, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. They're up and coming with their talent. That's the Hornets. I mean, before the draft last year, there were so many question marks about LaMelo Ball coming from Australia. Like, is this guy legit? He's kind of just this, selfish, highlight-seeking guard with horrible shot selection. But, man, he hit the ground running. He was lights out. I mean, as a passer, as a floor general, his decision making will improve, and his shooting should improve as well. But the guy has that it factor, that natural talent, and he raises the level. He makes the players around him better. Guys like Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, even like Terry Rozier. I mean, he gets them the ball where they need it, and their offense is it's like a top league pass team. That's going to be an exciting highlight reel team. And I think because all their main players are so young, if just a couple more of them take that next step, LaMelo being the most important, they can make some noise. They can give someone a little bit of a scare in round one.
I'm going to go out on a limb because this team only won 20 games last year. But I'm not.
Hear it. You're going to get some flack for this.
I have tons of belief in this team. It's the Detroit Pistons. You know what I'm saying? And they have the number one pick. He's a consensus number one. He looks fantastic in everything, in the way he thinks, in the way he is on the floor. He's a pass first. He shoots at a very high percentage. I think if he develops over the first 20 games, I'm telling you, they can sneak into the playoffs very easily. The beef stew, Isaiah Stewart, is by far, he's going to surprise a lot of people. And I wouldn't be, I don't think I'm going to be.
What do you think? What do you think his ceiling is? You said
Isaiah Stewart is going to.
You said he might make an all-star team.
I think so. I really do. I think he can. He scores a heck of a lot of points.
This year, or like he can in a couple of years? I mean,
I think he can do it this year.
That's high expectation. Look, man, everyone knows I'm a huge Piston fan, homer. Like, I want to drink that Kool-Aid, but I'm gonna tell you, slow your roll, man. This is a team that won 20 games. The roster upheaval is unprecedented. Like, man, Troy Weaver came in here and was just like, the hell with this crap. Just torched it. Just an epic, like, Michael Bay film scene explosion, just flames everywhere. And then poor Sekou, man, our brother, we thought he survived and that he would be part of that, like, core. No, man, he came out at the end of the day. He was a survivor, and then he just came behind him, just boom, gone. We got plenty of young players that are exciting. I agree with you that they're going to surprise people in the sense that people are still picking them. You know, like I think I saw on the Athletic, ESPN, Paul like got them at the bottom, like 2 or 3 teams in the East again.
That just does not make sense because, and I'll tell you why. If you just do the points on the 5 starters, that's a lot of points. Jeremy got 25 points last week. Okay. What's his name? Beef Stew got what? 12 points, 14 points. He's only going to be better than that. Sadiq Bey, the guy can shoot better than any rookie last year, and he's going to shoot even better this year. You know.
But so Killian is the X factor, right?
Killian is the worst player on that starting 5, and he's going to be okay.
I'm not going to go as far as you and say they're for sure going to make the playoffs. I think they'll contend for a playing spot. I think that 10 through 7 will be pretty tight in the standings throughout most of the year. And then, you know, by the trade deadline, maybe we'll see if they're going to go all in and make the playoffs or just tank to get another top pick, which kind of feel like maybe they should, because Cade with another potential all-star building block, I think long-term is a better plan than maybe sneaking into the playoffs.
Let's talk about the West side. I think the obvious team that's going to top the list for both of us is going to be the Los Angeles Lakers, because is there another team in Los Angeles? I don't think so.
Yeah, man, the Clippers dream of dethroning the Lakers, man. It's what, 2 years now where it's been short-circuited. Though they advanced further, they went to their first conference finals ever, only to have Kawhi get hurt. So they're kind of like that Lions luck curse a little bit, except not nearly as bad.
Some details about the Lakers. I mean, do you have any doubts that the addition of Russell Westbrook, who can just score anywhere from everywhere?
Who, Russell?
Addition ever?
No. He can score anywhere that's within 5 feet of the basket.
All right, well,
The guy's an abysmal 3-point shooter, which is what LeBron needs. I think whenever you add a talent at that level, it's going to help your team, right? It's kind of like replacing Schroeder / Caruso with Westbrook. So yeah, they're better for that amount of salary they're paying, and he's a former MVP candidate. The guy's a stat machine. I like to say he's a fantasy basketball MVP, but a real life fake, phony star. But, he's only got to be the third fiddle here. So in the regular season, he's going to help LeBron rest, not have to carry the load. So, yeah, he'll score. He'll get you 18, 20 points a game as a third option. I'm interested to see how much he fights Anthony Davis for rebounds. It'd be funny if he out-rebounded him because I think he's just got that.
He's got the motive. You got to give it up.
He's got that mindset. He's going to be like box out when you get the ball, like he did with Steven Adams. We'll see if AD is going to let that fly. But in the playoffs, man, when it's a half-court game and it slows down, it's going to be real interesting to see what they do with Westbrook. I mean, he's either going to clog the lane because, or he's fearless, right? He'll chuck up. He'll be like 1 for 10, and he'll still try to take the game-winning 3.
I think in LA, everything starts and ends with LeBron James, and especially in the playoffs. If I personally don't believe that Westbrook will have that much of a say in the playoffs. He'll be there. He will do what LeBron says. He'll do whatever AD is not doing that moment. But I don't think Westbrook is going to mess up the Lakers. I think the addition of Carmelo Anthony was fantastic. The dude can still shoot. He's still tall. He stretches the floor for the team. I think the addition of Rondo is excellent. I think the addition of old man Dwight Howard is still very good. This is a old team. But I think they got all the right pieces in my opinion.
They have enough old people that if half of them get hurt, they still got another 5 on the roster, right? We didn't even bring up Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington. He can shoot. The guy who might make a difference that no one is thinking about is Malik Monk. That was a smart, cheap pickup. And Kendrick Nunn. I'll talk about both of them.
Kendrick Nunn, yes.
Because I mean, there's not going to be enough minutes for all of them. But one of those players are going to play a big role, important role off the bench. You've got Nunn who showed in the finals against the Lakers a couple years ago what he's capable of. He's a scorer. He can get you buckets. And Malik Monk, he's a streaky shooter. He's been injured. He's been playing with a lot of injuries with Charlotte. The lottery pick. I honestly liked him. I think he put up 50 points with Kentucky his freshman year. And that guy, if he's healthy and gets minutes, he'll produce, man. I mean, the amount of space he'll get with all those other stars, he's just got to stay healthy. I think he could be a surprise. So keep your eye out for Malik Monk. The key, though, you said it starts and ends with LeBron. Yeah, that goes without saying to an extent. I think the most important factor is Anthony Davis's availability because he provides the essential skills that no one else will provide on that team, which is shot blocking, rim protection, and he's a stretch 5. When he plays center, that team is most effective in their championship run against the Nuggets. He basically made Jokic. I wouldn't say he neutralized him completely, but he made him work hard and really kind of limited his effectiveness. And the guy is a unicorn. I mean, the guy that length, that athleticism, can score in any way, down low or from 3. If he's healthy, LeBron, I think he's LeBron's most talented teammate that he's ever had. Sure. And you saw that when they won the championship.
No, but
Russell and all those other guys are really irrelevant because LeBron and AD healthy, they probably would have won it last year.
And I know last year he was hurt. AD was hurt. And I know LeBron was a little hurt, but not a lot. But I always question AD's drive. I do not question Westbrook's drive. You know what I'm saying? The guy, when he comes, he's 100 on the court. He doesn't make best decisions, but his motor is always running. I believe AD
That's
plays
fair. Yeah.
if AD is going every 3 or 4 games, I believe there's enough of Westbrook in there to get them the points they need, and LeBron will finish it off anyways. Who's your number 2? I think Warriors will be my number 2 pick.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Clay is out until like January, right?
Yeah, for a few weeks, but they are healthy otherwise.
Okay. So you got the Warriors number 2, so that would be an interesting conference finals. I think by the time the playoffs come around, the Warriors will be, number 2 or 3 in the West. I don't know how well they can play at like a decent clip, maybe 500 up until Clay's return, and it's going to take him some time to get up to his level. I'm going to go with. See, I was thinking the Nuggets at first, but then Jamal Murray's injury kind of messes that up, and then I really don't like the Jazz because year after year they disappoint. So
yeah, I see that.
The team that I think will surprise. So this is kind of also my surprise pick is Portland.
All right.
Dame knows this is kind of like his last hurrah with this team. And if he wants to have his legacy with Portland be more than just, hey, a nice team that made the playoffs every year but never could get over the hump, this is the year he's got to do it. And they made a couple, under the radar moves like picking up Larry Nance Jr., who gives them defense. They just need defense, right? If Nurk is healthy, that gives them some defense down low. If Robert Covington can remember how to put the ball in the basket. My God, how many dunks did he miss at crucial moments against who they play on blinking? The Nuggets, right? Yeah. And that was a tough draw for them too. So the West is so congested after that, like, the Lakers and, if the Clippers were healthy, I would have had them number 2. But obviously with Kawhi out, I think they're going to struggle to even make the playoffs. So the Warriors, the Blazers, and the Jazz, I think will make up my top 4 in the West. You're going to have like 2 or 3 games separating number 2 and number 6 or 7, like every year.
In my top 4, I have the Nuggets because I have not completely forgotten about the impact of Jokic. He does a lot just by himself. After the Lakers, there is no clear great team in there. So I'm going to keep Nuggets in there.
This team is an actual surprise team, right? Mm-hmm. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to make some
your
moves.
Surprise one is the Grizzlies. Okay, yeah. I want to
know this. That's another bubble team that really gave teams a scare. I think they gave the Jazz more than they thought. And John Morant, I think this is year 4 for him. Those point guards, they make a jump. I think or 3. So he's going to have a jump like what Trae Young had last year. I kind of see the Grizzlies as kind of like the Hawks of last year. If Jaren Jackson Jr. is healthy, finally, like every year he's like a breakout candidate. Mm-hmm. That guy he's got all the tools. I mean, kind of like we're talking about Anthony Davis, how rare his skill set is. Jaren Jackson can be kind of like a poor man's AD with his skill set if healthy. The guy's going to protect the rim, and he's got a nice stroke from 3. They've got a lot of nice pieces they picked up in the Jonas Valanciunas trade. They got Steven Adams, give him some toughness and defense. He doesn't need the ball on offense. You've got Dylan Brooks. You've got a lot of young wings that are kind of like similar tier, like Desmond Bain and Anthony Melton. If they gel, man, they could make a run in the playoffs, get to that second round.
So I have a question. Why aren't the Pelicans in our top 4?
Top 4? Why are they not in the top 8? I mean, are they going to make the playoffs, you think?
Pelicans? I think so.
Fly, Pelicans, fly.
They're definitely in the playoffs.
Bro, that's the thing. Did you see Zion's supposed to miss they said he's like out indefinitely. That's never a good thing, right? I don't know what that means. Is he out for a week or is he out for 2 months?
I hope it's not 2 months.
Well, that's a team that has a ton of talent, and our boy Stan Van Gundy that Chara. The Pelicans, I don't even know. They hired some no-name obscure guy, first-time rookie head coach. I don't trust it, especially if Zion's injury. It's a big question mark. You know,
I'm with you.
If they make the playoffs, that'll be a nice first step.
Well, let's move on to our preseason picks. Let's start with the first and most important category, the MVP. We did not have this guy's team in the West. I'm picking one of my MVP candidates. I'm going to name 3 of them, but one of them is Luka Doncic. And we don't have his team in the top 4 in the West. What do you say you have?
I think, Dallas, Portland, Denver, Utah, Golden State, maybe, like you even said, Memphis, are all going to be battling within a game or 2 for that 3 to 8 seed. And would it shock me if the Mavs are number 2 or 3? No, but what do you need to see happen? You need KP to go back to being Knicks version Porzingis, like attacking the basket, posting up, getting you 20 and 10 and some blocks, and not just like a corner spot up 3-point shooter that Rick Carlisle insisted they use him as.
Wait, did they make any positive changes this year from last year?
Not really, right? Tim Hardaway
They signed him for a lot of money.
Was retained and is probably their second best reliable scorer. I mean, in the playoffs last year, and that's not going to cut it. So if he's still your top 3 player, yeah, they're probably not going to get out of the first round again. I think they need Porzingis to take a step up. So if you're not a fan or a believer in Porzingis, which I think a lot of people have written him off, yeah, man, they're not going to do anything. I think Luka on his own is great enough to, if they don't play, they don't play a contender like the Clippers 2 years in a row, they probably win both those series. They were up in both series. So, yeah, if they play someone that's not with Kawhi and Paul George, he should be able to win a series. I mean, if he's up there, everyone's talking about him as he's on a trajectory to be an all-time player. It's about time, year 3, for him to advance at least to the second round, even if he doesn't have much help.
Who are your other candidates? You want me to name mine, or you want to?
So MVP, you said Giannis and Luka. Go ahead and finish yours first.
I did not say Giannis. I said Luka.
Oh man, I gave away my list. Okay.
All right.
You said Luka. Luka. Who are your other 2?
My other candidates are actually, I'm pretty sure this is something you guys may laugh at, but I think Jokic is going to be one of the candidates.
But he's the reigning MVP. Why would anyone laugh at that?
Because can he do it 2 times in a row?
Yeah, I mean, but we're just saying top 3. He'll probably be top. He's for sure going to be top 5. So
I picked 2 of them in the West, and my third choice is Kevin Durant still, because it's not 2019 anymore, folks. 2021 is 2 years removed from his injury, and that dude is a bad man. He can shoot, he can block, he can run, he can be slow, he can be fast. Oh my goodness, does he have an amazing team? KD.
I agree about Luka and KD as a top 3 MVP candidate. KD simply because coming off of that playoff performance, he's got a lot of people already just, he's reminded the basketball world of who is the top, 1 or 2 players in the league. He's got it. Those injuries, man, one of the things that was so sad about seeing him get hurt the way he did 2 years in a row is thinking we wouldn't be able to watch his greatness anymore, and that offensive talent that is like generational. And he's like, no, man, I still got it. Like that game 5, he dragged that Nets team to almost getting to the playoffs. Like his like 1 inch of his big clown shoe away from making it to the finals, and then probably smoking the Suns and winning it all with a 30% Harden and no Kyrie. I think the question though is like, is he going to play enough games? I think the Nets will be a top seed So, they'll check that box. They always look at, usually MVP is someone from a top 2 or 3 team. So the Nets will probably be that as long as they have like 60% of the games played by Durant and Harden. He's got to probably play at least 65 games to win the MVP.
65. I agree. He has to play for them to win. There is no Kyrie at the moment. Can Harden win that many games? All the rest of the guys are a lot older.
He with the Rockets. I mean, he's used to being the guy and carrying a team without another superstar. He had Chris Paul one year. He had Russ, but if he is KD, yeah, sure, Harden can lead a team to 60 wins. You talked about Luka. I agree with all that. Luka, I think he's just going to keep on getting a little bit better. If the Dallas Mavericks are a top 3 seed, he's got to be a favorite to win that award. I just don't think there will be. I mean, 5 or 6 seed again. Now, I'm just going to go back to Giannis. I know he's already won it twice. There could be some voter fatigue like there was for years with Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And for some reason, the voters love to look for some new, fresh narrative and give it to some undeserving candidate, Steve Nash. And I think Giannis is just like going to be unleashed this year. Like I said, when we talked about the Bucks, the monkey's off their back. They're champs. They know they're champs. And in their mind, they're going to still have a chip on their shoulder. And Giannis, man, the question was like, is he ever going to develop an outside shot? Imagine how unstoppable he'd be. He was like, I don't need an outside shot. I'm just going to dunk on you guys. I'm going to drive with different angles, get to the basket, like the wall defense that everyone talking about with the Heat. That worked, and then he solved it. He figured it out. He smashed the wall. The guy, if he improves his free throw percentage just a little bit, if he shoots slightly more efficiently from 3, or if dude doesn't even have a post-up game, there's so many things he could add. If he worked on something in the summer and added to his game, I think he's going to have that confidence to just like dominate. And if the Bucks are the number 1 seed again, Giannis is going to be top 2 or 3 in the voting.
So your 3 picks are Luka, KD, and Giannis. And I'll go with Luka, KD, and Jokic. The Rookie of the Year.
Jokic.
Is my favorite award.
Get it right. Yes, rookie. This is my favorite one. Okay. I've been on record in our little sports chat that this rookie class, I think, in 10 years will go up there with the vaunted 1984 class featuring Jordan, Barkley, John Stockton, and Hakeem Olajuwon, right? He had 2 of the top 10, 12 players and one of the top 5 point guards, and Barkley, one of the top 5 or 6 forwards, power forwards. And then, of course, the LeBron, Melo, Dwayne Wade, Bosch class of 03, and then the 96 class. That one is up there. There was I don't know if did you see that documentary on NBT? So Kobe, that was the one where AI went first. You had Steve Nash, you had Kobe, you had Ray Allen, you had Kerry Kittles, you had Ben Wallace was undrafted, but they counted him as part of that year's class. And man, there's so many. Antoine Walker. I mean, it was the deepest quality draft, I think. And then, so I think this class has the potential to be at that level. Yeah, look. We can't say they're going to be in the same breath as 03 and 84 yet. Is it going to have a Hall of Famer? Well, so Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley, all these guys I think have, potential to be all-stars. And then beyond that, Scotty Barnes looks really good. I mean, we had questions about his shooting, but the guy – man, that guy's an athletic monster, and he can defend and he can pass. Raptors fans, dang, you lucked out moving up and being able to still get a guy like that. You got just quality depth. I think it might be more like the 96 draft, where you're just going to have, in 10 years, you're going to see like 20 guys who have had long NBA careers, and then he had like 4 or 5 All Stars. I don't know that it's gonna be like all time greats. You know, Cade, and I don't know how great Cade will be. You're already putting so much pressure on him, talking about him like he's gonna put up numbers like LeBron. But look, if 2 or 3 of these guys end up as Hall of Famers, yeah, this class.
I think my favorite for Rookie of the Year, from everything that I've seen a little bit, he has 1 year under his belt already in college. It's Cade Cunningham, number 1. And the reason I say that is because he plays controlled. He's long. He's a pass first kind of guy, and he wants to lead on the floor. That's not something I expect from a rookie ever. And this is the way the guy is thinking before game number 1 in the NBA. You know, well, let's give him that shot.
I agree with everything you said as far as describing his game. He's smooth, controlled. And Troy Weaver called, I like this. I haven't heard this description for players before, but he's a connector. Like, I thought, hey, that makes sense. He connects. You saw it in the Summer League, right? Okay, for the 10 people who watched Summer League, he really like elevates the morale of the team and is hyping up his players, backing them up. But the guy can play, make, create, and that'll come. I just think let's see how fast he comes out the gates. Is his injury gonna slow that development curve or not? You know, just the NBA speed, getting reps. He kind of missed all that. I think if he has a slow start and someone like Jalen Green, who's just gonna have a green light to just chuck shots, man. This guy's gonna be like Jerry Stackhouse when AI wasn't there. And he's just gonna shoot every time he gets the ball, I think. So just from a numbers perspective, like think Anthony Edwards actually was a rare case of a rookie leading all rookies in scoring to not win the award because of how good LaMelo was. The odds are if Jalen Green leads all rookies in points, he'll probably win it. Nobody looks at wins, you know. I mean, now if the Pistons make the playoffs and Cade is like their second best player or best player, oh yeah, he'll win it. And Cade's going to be top 2 or 3 in votes as long as he's healthy. But the other guy, my third candidate, which is I talked about already, Scotty Barnes. I love this guy's game. He reminds me like if he's like a leaner, more athletic Draymond Green. You know, I don't agree with the level of this comp Kawhi Leonard I've seen like when he was with the Spurs before, you know, he took the spotlight. That level of contribution, I would say Cade, Jalen Green 1, Cade 2, Scotty Barnes 3. Jalen Suggs, I love his game. I just think, man, what are the Magic doing with all those guards? That's a really cluttered backcourt with Hampton, Cole Anthony. I mean, I think Marco Fultz will be coming back healthy to play. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of minutes to split up there.
Good thing about this pick right now is the season has not started yet. So my third pick was Mobley. After Cade and Jalen Green, I was going to say Mobley. And why do I say Mobley? Because the dude has nobody else to play his position on that team. He's going to go out there and pretty much do anything and everything.
What about the Fro, man? Jared Allen. Big money, Jared Allen.
Well, who are their 3 starters? I mean, who are the 3 big guys?
Well, they're going to probably start them both. But yeah.
So their 2 guards, who, by the way, are very good, are not going to score all the points. It's going to be these 2 guys. And Jared Allen is not a scorer by any means. So it's going to be.
Have you seen Colin Sexton?
I think he's very good. He really.
My guy loves to shoot the ball. So I mean, yeah. Evan Mobley.
Another guy loves to pass.
The guy's got all the potential. You know, everyone will say he has the highest ceiling just because he's like 7 feet and can block any shot. And he can actually has perimeter skills, can ball handle. You know, the AD prototype, if he's anywhere near that, I think, you know, people who scouted him look at him more as a Chris Bosh level potential.
And he's going to play a bunch of games against our main guy, Beef Stew. He'll see how big he needs to
The Pistons Cavs rivalry to be you can't say reignited, but maybe he started.
So defensive player of the year, probably the hardest picks to make. And you said earlier, 2 years running, Rudy Gobert has won it. Can he do it a third time?
I just think there's no way voters can give it to him again after the embarrassment that he was. Second year in a row, the Jazz blow a 3-1 lead, and they were hunting him. It was just like, hey, whoever is Rudy Gobert's guy, come and set a pick, and he couldn't move laterally. And so, yeah, traditionally great rim protector, but I want to see it go to a perimeter defender. Or I'm going to say my favorite for this, just like the MVP, is Giannis. Giannis will not be denied. I think he's going to get a lot of love from voters this year, as long as he's healthy. Which, oh my God! By the way, I think one of the most underrated or not, it's not talked about enough, is the injury Giannis suffered against the Hawks, right? Where it looked like his leg just, it was like, I thought that was like an ACL tear. And he was just like, he shrugged it off. I mean, he was back in less than 2 weeks and did what he did. The guy is a machine. I mean, that's like LeBron level strength and physical supremacy, right? The guy is always healthy, always he's durable. The guy defends. The guy is gonna lead the league. I mean, one of the top shot blockers, steals. So please don't give it to Rudy Gobert. I think the other guy, Ben Simmons may or may not play. That takes a prime candidate off the board if he's not playing.
Well, my long shot DPOY will be, if he plays enough games, it's going to be Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I guess that's why Rudy Gobert's won it all these years. It's just that's the least common down. Oh, who led the league in blocks? Rudy Gobert. Miles Turner's a guy we talked about a little bit. If he's healthy, that guy, I think he led the league in blocks per game, but he just never plays enough games. Matisse Thybulle. He's the young guy with the Sixers. He's almost like the same profile as Simmons in that he's a lockdown defender. He's actually, I think, tools-wise, a better defender and will be a better defender than Simmons, but he has no shot. The guy on offense is almost a zero. So can he stay on the court long enough? Well, Ben Simmons not being available potentially will open the door for him to play more. I don't think he's going to be a big enough he's not going to have enough of a role and play enough minutes to be a contender for the award this year. But, man, down the road, I mean, I don't know if he made the All-NBA second team last year, but he probably will at least do that.
Let's talk about the conference finals. But before we get there, we want to stay a little bit longer and talk about the disaster, which is Ben Simmons. Sixers hate him. Players have already shown exactly why they don't want to practice with him. He doesn't stick around during the practices, if you've been watching and reading.
What a disaster, man.
He is what he is. So what's going to happen to him? Where is he going? Where is he staying? If he's staying, I mean, what's going on? What do you think?
I think it's obvious. We all know he's just going back because he doesn't want to miss out on a paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. Guy was like, I'm not going back. I'm selling my house. I don't want to ever step foot in Philly. He knows what's waiting for him. Those Philly fans are brutal. They're going to boo the crap out of him, right? Like, dude, I mean, after that playoffs and then the way he handled it, you know, if you have a bad performance and you man up to it, you show like some accountability and the biggest thing is show like a drive or a passion to get better. The guy just seems like he doesn't care. And he's so like, I think he's just like a basketball player for a career. It's not like something he loves. And he's got a history of bailing on teams at LSU. He was there as a freshman, top prospect. Couldn't even get him to the tournament because he stopped playing like at some point. It was like before the conference tournament. The guy bailed. He wanted to like protect his chances for getting drafted. I don't know if it was injury, but I think it was just he's mentally like the opposite of, people talk about Mamba mentality. I call it the Zeke mentality, the will to win, the killer instinct that great players have to do whatever it takes to just get every ounce of talent out of themselves and get better. This is year 4 or 5 in the NBA.
No, it's like
we're still asking if he can develop a jump shot. Man. So that all goes to his value, his trade value. What is it? And that's why he hasn't been moved. Daryl Morey sitting there with all his analytics and data computing what his trade value is. And apparently it's telling him it's like at least 3 number 1 picks, another 3 pick swaps, and an all-star player. Get out of here, man. Daryl Morey, you're crazy. You already pulled the biggest heist in NBA history with that James Harden trade, and you think you're going to pull another one? Look, I think the toxicity of that locker room and the realization that his trade value is going to be pennies on the dollar. He's got to just settle for getting a good, better fit, like similar level player, even a level below him. And the one that is obviously like I think we've talked about it a number of times, CJ McCollum on Portland. He's a little redundant with Dame Lillard. He's an outside shooter. He's a solid, bona fide scorer. Doesn't defend that well, but you know what? Philly can. He fits in a lot nicer with Philly and Embiid. He spreads the court, and he would instantly be their best guard. And he'll fit perfectly with Tobias and Embiid and all those other guys. And then Simmons is an excellent fit on Portland because Dame spreads the court. Ben, you don't want to shoot threes? Okay, just pass it to Dame. He'll pull up from anywhere. The guy has enough confidence for 10 Ben Simmons. This guy, Dame time, oh my God. That performance in round 1 last year when they lost the game, but dude, he sent that game to multiple overtimes. One of the best performances in the playoffs. That fit. Simmons would come in and handle the perimeter defense, guard the best player on the other team. And Portland would, I said they would be my surprise pick. If they get Simmons, it's no longer a surprise. They better be in the conference final. I don't see why like either team would say no to that, other than Morey is just he's nuts, man. He's in La La Land thinking he wants to get a king's ransom for Simmons. Let's see how long he sticks to that after a few weeks in the season, and if they struggle, if Embiid gets hurt, you better trade him.
And the last question for tonight's show, conference finals. Who do you have in the East? Who do you have in the West?
I'm going to assume the Nets are going to have one of the big 3 out. Whether it's Kyrie, I think are good enough to make it. I'm not going out on a limb saying that they're everyone's favorite. I actually think the Bucks, we didn't do our official finals picks yet. I think we're going to do that at a later show. I'm leaning to taking the Bucks over the Nets just because of that continuity. And like I said, they've got that confidence. So Bucks, Nets.
My Eastern Finals, I think Nets are way too stacked to not be there. But I'm going to pick them against the Heat.
Yeah, Bam. If Bam kind of picks up where he was 2 years ago, it seemed like that whole team took a step back after their finals appearance, right? Like last year, they never hit their stride in the season. They didn't have a good seed, and that's why they played the Bucks in early rounds. So if Kyle Lowry kind of is perfect fit for them, the Heat are going to be very tough. Their defense and Jimmy Butler, if he's healthy, he's a solid go-to guy. So
my West is going to be obviously Lakers, and I think they'll go against the Warriors.
I said I was surprised you picked the Warriors to finish second, but I think they're going to peak at the right time. They're going to get Klay. Klay Thompson is one of the most underrated players because he's always been in the shadow of Steph and then KD. I think in their first run, when they played the Thunder, remember that game six, Klay saved their saved their butts. He fits so perfectly in any offense. The guy's the most efficient offensive player. The guy almost scored. He could have scored 70 points in that game where like he had like what 5 dribbles and scored 60 something points in 3 quarters. He didn't even play the full game. And I hate, by the way, when coaches do that. Like, why are you sitting your guys out when they could go for big records? Klay Thompson is gonna probably hit his stride in like March, April. Steph showed what he can do last year, carrying a team. And then the young guys, you know, whatever they get for them is gravy. If Wiseman, I saw reports that he's basically been cleared to start practicing, and he should be good to go within like a month. So that's more optimistic than previously thought. And then you've got a lot of nice role players. Jordan Poole, he's getting hyped, right? He's had a big preseason. He showed flashes last year. He's going to be able to put the ball in the bucket for them. Andrew Wiggins, I think, is one of those guys who, because of his expectations, everyone just kind of hates him. He's got a big contract. He's not a star, and he doesn't need to be, but he's a solid 4 or 5 guy on a contender, and plays defense. So I agree. I think if Klay is at least 80% of what he used to be, it's going to be a matchup of, you know, the old guard, right? The reigning back-to-back champs and how many finals they made in a row. And then LeBron came and crashed that party, but they never really played each other. They didn't match up in the playoffs because of injuries. So I would love to finally get to see Steph versus LeBron in a conference finals instead of the finals.
Now that you've said Steph, I hate that shimmy. You know what I'm saying? That stuff cannot happen.
He's like skinny Antoine Walker. Yeah, he's obnoxious with all that, but I think he's a good guy, cool guy off the court. He's an investor with Tonal and our boy Ali Radi, so maybe we'll catch a Tonal workout with him sometime.
Oh, that will be so cool. That will be too cool.
LeBron too, right? Breaking news the other day.
In addition, there's LeBron. One day Tonal should sponsor this show, is what I think.
You guys don't know what Tonal is. It's like this new like city-art workout home gym thing. Google it. It's pretty sweet. Me and Yasser got it last year, and we need to start using it a little more than we do.
Maybe.
This is going to be a fun year. Fun year and fantasy hoops league that we have. Are you going to finally make it to the finals? Tell everyone who's on your roster. Who are your top 5 players
this year? Well, you know who they are. AD, KD, LeBron James, Jeremy.
You just had to say AD and LeBron. That's what I was looking for. So what tells you, you know, this guy drafts with his heart. He loves LeBron and Davis. I think you've had LeBron 3 years in a row now. Overpaying him. We do it auction style, so you can pay anyone to get whatever player they want if they budget for him. But yeah, my team is pretty stacked. Giannis and James Harden. Dude, James Harden is healthy. He's not coming off his fat protest with the Rockets. You know, he was looking like me when he got traded, and now he knows what's up. This guy, man, and I talk about a critical moment in someone's legacy. If he doesn't win a championship in the next 2-3 years, he's going to be like closer to the Vince Dominique Wilkins rather than, you know, the top 20.
Thank you again for hanging out with us for the last God knows how long. And we did talk a lot, and we're going to keep talking a lot more. So see you next time.